Hey everyone, so this is The Circle Season 7, episodes 3 and 4. Episode 3 called Battle of the Influencers, and episode 4 called Press to Impress. So the next day, Kevin starts a private chat with Savannah. Savannah's makes it seem like everything's all good between them when it isn't, um, because she's still salty about the fact that he didn't. Pick her to go to the little VIP party the night before. Um, she asks what happened with people in the party, and he decides to lie and all that. And she says, um, she says, he is her number one. He doesn't say it back, and I'm like, you did all that talking of um keeping one eye open when it comes to him, and you didn't even pick up on the fact that he didn't say he was going to put her. I mean, he did in the long run, but when it really counted, he didn't. He still. I'll get to that because I'll get to that later because at the end of the episode. But anyway, so Rachel slash Deb starts a group chat with Shadeja and Gianna. Gianna lies somewhat and only talks about the fact that she um, had been blocked, but then saved because she activated the disruptor and it caused her to um, be saved from blocking. Um, and then they all decide to have like a girls' alliance. Andy Heather starts a private chat with Madeline and they start flirting right away. And I'm like, here we go again with the whole flirting bit. I'm like, these people really don't have a, you know, an original thought in their head, it seems. I'm like, what in the world? It, like I said, it would be one thing if this like season one and, they didn't know what to expect. So they kind of feel like they need to, I mean, do a specific thing to get to the end or whatever. I mean, it's a tale of its time. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I, it just doesn't seem like it's worth it. When, you know, people always end up fucking shit over anyway, as we will see at the end of the episode, going into next episode. So the players then play Cray Pop, um, where everyone is asked a series of multiple questions and have to figure out or provide the correct answer. So the first question is, who named their child this weird ass, name? Um, the answers that were given are Elon Musk, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Jared Leto. I knew off rip it wasn't Gwyneth Paltrow because I knew she had named her child Apple back in like the early 2000s. I remember that, like early mid 2000s or something like that. So I remember her doing that. I figured it wasn't her because of the fact that I don't think she's that out there that she would name her child that. Um, and I was like, I didn't think it was Jared Leto either. I don't know why, but I was just like, I don't think it would have been him because I just I didn't even know Jared Leto didn't even have any kids. He doesn't have any kids. I figured I looked at it after the fact, like after everyone had answered, and I saw that he didn't even have any kids. So it's like, yeah. So the only other answer to me seemed like it was Elon Musk. So pretty much everyone except Rachel, aka Deb, answered Elon Musk, and she picked, I believe, Jared Leto. Um, Second question is, which of these athletes have been in both the WWE and the UFC? I don't watch wrestling, so I was gonna pick Hulk Hogan personally. Turns out it wasn't him or The Rock, because they're the only two that I know off rip, um, out of the WWE to begin with. So yeah. So yeah. So but somehow Rachel manages to get this question where um because it's some random third name that I don't even know. But she manages to get that question right, where um, it's this other dude. Somehow she manages to get that, but doesn't know Elon Musk named his child whatever that shit was. Um, Now, I didn't necessarily know it was Elon Musk myself, but I could at least do process of elimination. Yet somehow, I was like, because I don't know I would have just completely guessed with the WWE and UFC shit, um, and I still would have gotten it wrong, because I don't follow it like that. Um, and I'm willing to kind of bet most women don't really follow it like that, not unless you're really into that and have been since you were a kid. So only reason why she knows is because her son's into it. So mm, most people are gonna. I don't know why she didn't think that most people weren't gonna realize that um, she wasn't. She wouldn't would think that she wouldn't know. So I don't know. Question three is, who of the following was Madonna romantically linked to? And somehow she manages to think far enough ahead to purposely get the answer wrong because she knows. Because I don't remember who I know George Clooney was one of the answers, but I know he wasn't. I know he wasn't the answer. I don't remember who it was, but Um, she knows good enough to answer that wrong purposefully, but not the WWE and UFC answer question. Like, okay. Um, Question four, question four is, which of these popular abbreviations is a compliment? Now, um, Rachel's aka Deb is like, well, uh, I don't know what that would be because I even though I work with because I work with millennials and Gen Zers, they don't compliment me like that. I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with anything? I don't even. I'm considered a millennial. I was born in 1992, so I'm in that time frame, where because I think it's like maybe like mid to late 80s is when millennials began, and then it ends in like 1996 or 1997. um I think it's 96 was when the cutoff time is for millennials. So I'm in that time frame, and I don't even know what the hell, I didn't even know what the hell HBIC meant. So I'm like, it has nothing to do with fucking millennials and Gen Zers, like, because Kevin is a fucking I mean, well, I think only women will probably, or mostly women will know what that means because, um, but I don't, I mean, I'm just different where I don't really care to be, um, uh, I guess, part of the masses to say what everyone else says and do what everyone else does. So I know I wouldn't know what the hell that shit meant. Um, and Kevin didn't know what that meant. I think he's considered a Gen Zer, so like, but he's a guy, so I wouldn't expect him to know. So, but um, but I mean, not everyone as a millennial is gonna know what the fuck that shit means though. It's like, why? I mean, somehow we're at fault for not telling her what it is. Like, okay, I just it's weird. I don't know, it's weird, but um, after the game, everyone is then suspicious of Rachel, aka Deb. Um, Everyone then gets alert that they have to rate each other. So they do. And then Andy, aka Heather, invites Kevin and Darian to a group chat. They all reveal that they coupled up with one of the ladies there. Andy with Madeline, Kevin with Savannah, and Darian with um, Jadeja. So the ratings are then, well, first, before I get to the ratings, Andy asked what they think of Rachel. Kevin said he hadn't heard a peep out of Rachel, to which Andy says that the answers to the questions that they all just answered really perked up her spidey senses, or his spidey senses, I should say. So then the ratings come in. In seventh place is Savannah. Tied for fifth is Andy and Heather, or Andy, Heather, and Rachel. Fourth is Jadeja. Third is Darian, and second is Gianna, and first is Kevin. So Kevin and Gianna then go to the hangout to decide who to block, and we find out that there won't be any twist like the disruptor the last time there was a blocking. So they disregard Darian and Jadeja straight away. Kevin wonders about Andy, even though they have an alliance. Gianna says that they have concerns too, but at least with Andy apologized after the fact, whereas Savannah didn't do that. So um, Kevin supposedly says he is adamant that Savannah stays because of his connection to her. So they end up in a deadlock because Kevin is adamant about not losing Savannah, or Andy, while Gianna is adamant about not losing Rachel. The at-risk players then go to a public chat, and Rachel, straight away asks, what is she missing about Kevin, because she doesn't get it, how Kevin could possibly be so popular and therefore an influencer. Um, and personally, I don't know. It always seems to be that one or two people who seem to go too hard on one other person, and or people, and they end up blowing up the freaking spot. And personally, I think, Rachel, aka Deb, and Gianna, aka Nikki and JoJo, are those two people who are so focused on one person that they're narrowly focused on like one or maybe even two people, to the point that they have blinders on to everyone else, and they're not thinking long term about things. And that's what I looked up about QT, is that she's actually thinking about things long term, or she actually thought about things long term, where she um made sure she had, hands in different pots, and you know, she made sure that she at least connected with multiple people on several different levels. Um, so that way people continue to rate her well enough, even if she didn't get the influencer spot. And because it is, so the long story short, they had a game plan. She had a game plan. Um, Miles, that's who it was. I don't know why I was blinking on his name the last episode or the last video, but Miles, even Miles had like, um, in the end, he was like right at the like 1 yard line. He was um, tackled, and he ended up uh, being blocked. But in the long run, even he had the sense to have his hands in different pots, and therefore, you know, you know, thought strategically about who he aligned with and what they connected on with and all that. And these, I don't know. I mean, this is why I don't necessarily agree with the whole flirting thing and starting the whole connection with just that, because it never seems to last long, and therefore it never seems to, like, one of the people that never ends up, you know, going that far, as we saw here, because in episode 4, the players that or the influencers that the picked Savannah to leave. So Savannah meets one person, or has the opportunity to meet one person before she leaves, and she decides to meet Kevin. Shocker. Um, she tells him about what Rachel said during the influencer chat, and he's now suspicious about her. Okay. A little bit too late, in my opinion, but everyone the next morning then watches Savannah's video that she left, and so she's pretty much saying without saying, I thought I had a strong alliance, and turns out I don't really have a strong alliance. So afterwards, everyone goes to their first public chat after both the blocking and the video, and lines are drawn where Kevin and Gianna throw pretty much veiled insult. I don't even want to call it insults, but veiled, comments towards each other. After that public chat, Madeline then decides to start a private chat with Kevin, but decides to not go the route of flirting and just show that she has his back. And I'm like, finally, a good strategy, because, well, I don't necessarily like Gianna, aka JoJo, and Nikki, and I don't necessarily like Rachel, aka Deb. At the very least, they, built a connection that on more than just flirting. Of course, they're two women and they're playing as two straight women, but they at the very least had decided to create this sort of connection that wasn't built on superficiality, where at best it's very shaky. Because I mean, because let's be real, if Savannah was as strong a connection for Kevin as he claimed she was to him, he wouldn't have gotten rid of her. He wouldn't have felt the need that she was the one that he could compromise on. He wouldn't have done that. At best, he would have said, I'm not giving either one of them up. So either he's saying, I'm not going to give either Andy or Savannah up. So, oh well, we're gonna have to get rid of Rachel. So I don't know. So she's asking about Andy, and they kind of I guess shakily a little bit make a pact, like alliance with him without him being there yet. I'm not sure if Kevin will bring Andy in on it later, but because we don't see it this episode, but then they bond over missing their families. Gianna then starts a private chat with Rachel, aka Deb, and Garrett. I mean, they didn't really seem to talk too much about anything important, so I didn't write it down. But at the same time, Andy starts a private chat with Kevin. Kevin wants to know if they should include Garrett into the band, and Andy says yes, but only after they get to know him better. So they invite him to a private chat while he's in the private chat with the other two ladies. Um, he sort of kind of makes like starts kind of like an alliance with Gianna and Rachel before abruptly leaving and going to um, the chat with Andy and Kevin. And Gianna and Rachel both kind of think that's a little weird. So I'm like, ugh. So they ask him to kind of like be in their alliance, and he says okay. So he kind of has uh, hands in multiple pots where he's in one pot where it's the ladies and the other pot is the gentlemen. Um, so Jadeja, this was a private chat with Darian. Um, and I don't know, they still seem kind of like, I don't know if it's just because the Kevin, Gianna, Rachel shit kind of took up most of these last two episodes, but um and therefore we didn't see too much of Jadeja and Darian. But yeah, they don't seem like they have that much of they don't seem like they have that much um, of a strong connection outside of, again, just the flirty part of it. I mean, they kind of bond with the fact that, they're both the oldest. She's the oldest of 12, while he's only the oldest of two. But they bond over, being the oldest. So I guess that's something, but I don't know. It just, again, still, it just seems like they have just the shaky foundation of having flirted or heavily flirted, and it doesn't seem like, I don't know. I guess we'll see when it comes down to it. If they kind of create a more solid alliance, but to me, it doesn't seem like they had that solid alliance, and it's only going based off of you know lust, so to speak. So later that night, they then, after the private chat between Jadeja and Darian ends, they get an alert. Um, they are given the opportunity to activate disruptor mode. Um, and I don't know who it was, but Nikki or JoJo make a good point that having a good outcome for disruptor mode 3 times in a row wouldn't make sense. Which is true. Like, it just wouldn't make any sense. Why would you want to? It just seems statistically improbable that it would be a good thing 3 times in a row. And lo and behold, after Rachel, aka Deb, Darian, Madeline, and Andy, aka Heather, decide to disrupt, Rachel, aka Deb, and Madeline are chosen to be the disruptor because they got to the disruptor part first. So we are told that Madeline and Rachel have to swap profiles. So Rachel will be controlling Madeline's, and Madeline's will be controlling Rachel's. And so therefore have to secretly play as each other. And this disruption will last until the next blocking. If they survive the next blocking, they will then return to the original profile. I feel like there's more to this story. And I wouldn't be surprised if um, the circle tells them that, um, if one of you gets blocked while the other, because like if something happens where neither one of them gets to be an influencer, um, and one of them gets blocked, the other will get blocked too. So because they're still under each other's, controlling each other's profile by that point. Um, so let's say neither Madeline nor Rachel becomes influencer, um, and either Madeline or Rachel ends up getting blocked, Rachel or Madeline would then get blocked. So, say Madeline was blocked, so will Rachel. So, I mean, I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. I don't know because that's the end of the episode. We won't get a new episodes until the 18th. So we'll see. I will be going on vacation starting leaving tomorrow. So I will be able to watch it because I'll be at least bringing my tablet so I can watch Netflix there if I want to. But I don't know for sure if I will be making any videos. I mean, I'll be coming back next Saturday, so I can at the very least make the videos Sunday, at worst Sunday. I will try to see if I can at least get episodes 5 and 6 done, if not all 4. But with that, tell me what you guys think of all 4 episodes now. What do you think of this disruptor aspect of it all? Who your favorites are, who your least favorites are, what you think of everyone's gameplay so far. And I will see you guys next week.